Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Um, in this video, I'm going to be repotting some plants that desperately need to be repotted. And I wanted to talk about some things that I am expecting to accomplish this year and some plants that not so much as a wish list, but because I'm not like, I need to have it this year. It's not so much as a wish list, but as like a list of things that I thought about, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to get them or not. But um, I thought about this long and hard, and I couldn't really figure out what plant I really wanted. And so I just started jotting down things that I thought were interesting or cool looking and that might potentially be a wish list item. So that definitely is something um, that I wanted to talk about in this video. I was actually able to get a little table set up here in my plant room. I forgot I had this table and it is the perfect size for me to sit here and do some repots versus, sitting on the floor. Um, you know, when you're in your mid to late 30s, those hips and those knees can't quite stay in that position for that long. At least for me, I am in my late 30s now, and I am not the best at working out or anything. So yeah, definitely my joints could use some movement, and maybe that won't be so much of a problem. But yeah, so this works out really well. It is a very kind of overcasty day today and the sun is in my face. If you haven't seen in other videos, I think I show you in my plant tour, I show you this whole room and it's basically all windows. It is like made up of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 10, 15 windows total. And then there's one little window on that wall over behind the camera. And yeah, so 15, 16 windows total in this room. And so it's like light all day, every day until the sun is gone. And when the moon is, it's really cool when the moon is up above and I have all the lights turned off, you can really see the glow of the moon in here and it kind of looks a little bluish. It's really, really cool. But yeah, oh, and I do have, you know what, I should probably turn off the grow light. I turned on the grow light, the Sansi grow light this morning because it was still kind of dark and I couldn't see anything in here. So I turned it on and I guess I don't need it now. The sun is literally in my face. I turned off the light and it's still pretty bright in here. I got the sun in my face. There's a little bit of an overcast, so it's not like super duper bright, but yeah, it's a great light to work by. Anyways, as I said before, here to repot. I do have some things here that I wanted to do. First off, I think I'm gonna start with this variegated Maranta. Very beautiful, but it's in the same substrate that that I got it from. I haven't repotted it since I brought it home from the plant store. And I'm not going to remove all of this soil. I'm probably just going to kind of squeeze it, give it a little bit of a squeeze, and whatever falls off, falls off. And look at those little rhizomes. Those are cool. This stuff dries out so fast. The center was holding the moisture, so it's not too bad, but I didn't really want to keep it in this stuff, so I think that's as much as I'm going to get off. I don't want to disturb the root ball too much. It is a little bit, it is holding on to the rest of this, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's see. And the soil I'm using is just my regular soil mix. It's a combination of, I'll show you right here, combination of just a potting mix indoor potting mix, and sometimes I'll use Fox Farm, but if I don't want to be that fancy and spend that much money, I'll just go and get an organic soil mix from my local hardware store, which is called DIY here in the mountains. And I'll pick up a bag of that, and then, or a couple, and then I'll mix in some of these cocoa chips and some orchid bark, some pumice. What else do I mix in there? Some horticultural charcoal. I will mix that in there as well. And depending on the mood or what I'm potting up, I will add more of some of the chunkier ingredients. Like today, I will be repotting a anthurium, so I'm going to be adding some chunky stuff in there for that, but I will show you in a bit what I'm going to do with that anthurium. I hope that you guys like it, but I'm really excited about this. But let's start with this Maranta. She's been looking a little bit rough, and that's because I let her dry out too much. And Marantas are so beautiful, you guys. Yeah, she's looking a little rough because her soil was drying out and I was letting her dry out. But anyways, enough of that. Let's start by repotting this girl. So I do have, she's a little dirty, but you know, whatever. This self-watering orchid pot, that's what it's labeled as. Anything that has like holes on the side of the pots like that, they usually label as an orchid pot. But it comes with this little, you know, reservoir down there, a little drip tray, and they work really well. I really like these off of Amazon. It's just search, I don't have a link, but just search self-watering pots and you'll see these in different sizes. But yeah, these have been my favorite. So I am going to, you know, since I knocked over most of this soil off of the root ball, I will get, and I'm not going to add anything else to the soil because I don't want it to be too fast draining, because it is a Maranta and they can't dry out as quickly. I don't want it to dry out as quickly. I want it to retain some moisture. And that's where the cocoa core chips come in. They allow the soil to be airy, and at the same time they hold some moisture, so that's why they add them to chunky mixes, because they retain moisture, but they also don't, you know, they let the roots breathe. So I think that was good. Maybe I put too much in there. I'm going to take a little bit out. So anyways, I'm going to talk about my goals for this year, and I am thinking that I would definitely like to be more present on social media, especially YouTube. It's just, I'm having fun with it. I'm not necessarily trying to like monetize, you know. Everybody seems to be doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Any way that's fun and you get to make money, why not, you know? These times are hard, and if you can get a job or even make a little bit of extra money on the side, why not? Support people that are online and trying to hustle, even if it's for a few extra dollars, you know. That's always a plus, especially if you're having fun. I mean, why not? Why not support people, you know? If you're online and you're on YouTube, on Instagram, or what have you, and you see a video that you like, please share it and give them a like, and, you know, help them out. Because you don't know, they might be making a few bucks off of that video. I'm definitely not doing it to monetize. I'm doing it to, I mean, if I do monetize, then hey, that is a plus for me. It'll never be enough to sustain. It's not sustainable for me, and I don't think it'll ever be. Could it be? I don't know, maybe, but that's not what I'm heading, that's not my goal, at least not right now. Right now, my goal is to be more present on social media, especially on YouTube, like I said, and just have full-on fun with it. Of course, I know it comes with its drawbacks, but you know what? You just gotta continue having fun and try to ignore any of the negatives. But yeah, I think she is looking good. I really don't like that she's hanging on by a little thread here. You can see she's gonna, but I feel like that is good enough for right now. And she looks great. I could definitely, a lot of people would say, ew, why is she hanging off like that? That is normal for a prayer plant or a maranta. It's going to trail. It's going to hang right off. So no matter what I do, she's going to be hanging off like that. What I can do to fill in this empty spot here is take some cuttings, which I will do. I'm not going to do it right now, but I will be taking some cuttings and I just stick them right back in the dirt, in the soil, and they will root really quick. Prayer plants tend to root really, really, really fast. So I'm going to put that there. And then we'll move on to this calathea that I have here. I know, calatheas. Calatheas. I don't do very well with calatheas. This is a very beautiful calathea, by the way. She's beautiful. Her leaves are really big and round. And if you look up this calathea or any other calathea, once they're really big, their leaves are just absolutely gorgeous. But I don't know, they seem to be a difficult plant for a lot of people. And I had this one in my kitchen bay window, and it's a little cold there, so I think that's what happened with this newer leaf, is it got some cold damage. And it did have thrips. When I first moved into this house, I noticed that she had thrips a couple of months ago. So I treated her, rinsed her off a couple of weeks, for a couple of weeks, and she seems to be doing fine. I think she's pest-free. But what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to put her back into semi-hydro. Meaning I'm going to take her out of the soil. And backstory, I did have her in semi-hydro. I had her in perlite and fluval stratum, which is a aquarium medium. And she did amazing, and she rooted so fast and took over that medium. And I don't know why I decided to put her back into soil. And not that she's been doing horribly, but I feel like she was doing better in semi-hydro. So that is what I'm going to be doing right now. Let's get into getting this out of the soil. Now, I'm not using any expensive pon or mix. I bought it off of Amazon. I use, hold on just a sec. See, it still has the shape of the vessel that I had it in last, and it didn't root very much or very well in the soil. So maybe this is a good idea that I get it back into semi-hydro. Anyways, the mix that I buy for semi-hydro, or pon as people call it, is not anything expensive. I bought this again off of Amazon. I will try to get a link, but this is what it looks like. It's got a mixture of different stones, like red lava rock, pumice. Let's see, it doesn't have zeolite, which is the blue rocks or blue stone mineral, whatever you want to call it. And I ran out, but luckily I have just enough for this little project. I did add some more pumice to it just to make it just to yield a little bit more. But yeah, this is what I'm going to use, excuse me, in making this semi-hydro again. The roots are still good. They are a little dirty from the soil. I'm gonna go rinse it off really quick, and then I'll be back and I will show you how I do this. Okay, I'm back, and I did rinse it off. A lot of soil didn't come off. It wasn't really adhered to the roots, and I'm telling you, it wasn't really in soil for very long, so that's probably why. This was, again, in a mixture of perlite and fluval stratum, and so I'm not going to put it back in fluval stratum only because it does break down eventually, and it served its purpose and it made the roots grow really beautifully. So let me get rid of this soil. So this is not going to go to waste. It goes out into my raised garden bed in the back, and it just gets recycled back there. Okay, so I have a glass vessel. If you watched some of my other videos, I will talk about the jar life. And what I mean by that is plants that are in jars. And I love doing this. I love the jar life, and so do my plants. The key to the jar life is not to overwater. Just water until you see the soil gets moist. And sometimes I'll put something like leca at the bottom or orchid bark, and then you can see this, you know, the water that is settling at the bottom. Do not fill that up until, do not water your plant until that fills up, because you don't want it really sit in that water. But it will soak up any extra. It'll wick up with the leca and water your plants. As you can see, this peperomia, it's not a peperomia, it's a pilea. It is really happy in the jar. And also, I don't have to water them very often. I know a lot of people will say, no, you need drainage because you need all of those extra fertilizers and nutrients to drain out. And while they are right, that is correct. I personally have not had an issue with my plants being in jars or in drainless vessels. But if that's really an issue, then I could always tilt it and get some of that water out, I guess. But I mean, I really like it. I love the jar life. So I'm going to be using this vessel here. This is an old candle jar that I've really washed thoroughly. You see that? I washed it thoroughly. I got all the wax out. And so let's see. Let's put this over here. I have a lot going on this table now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of this pon here that I mixed up, and I'm gonna try to fill it up a little bit, just a little bit on the bottom, so that's something for the roots to grab on, and that's probably good enough. I know some people might be watching and be like, no, that's not how you do it. This is how I do it, and it's worked for me. This doesn't work for everybody, and not everybody's going to agree with my method of growing plants. But you know what? I will never recommend anything to people. What I do recommend is figuring out what works for you. Definitely figuring out what works for you and your plants. And if you fail, you try something else. It does not hurt to try things. It doesn't hurt at all. So right now I'm just going to backfill it and get that going. I was talking about wanting to be more present on social media. I have kind of already been doing that. I am pretty present on Instagram. That seems to be my my platform of choice because it's just easy. Is it the best one though? Probably not. It has been very shoddy lately, especially with getting your content seen and the algorithms and the way Instagram, I don't know, handles the way the content gets, you know, pushed out. And it just seems like even the biggest content creators that have hundreds of thousands of followers are having trouble getting their content out there. Like their stats will say that, hey, 50,000 people saw this video. Okay. But I have like 1 million followers. So that's just what's been happening on there. But I still have fun with it. Like I said before, I'm not really looking to be this like all popular content creator. I am just having fun with this. And oh, I didn't get, make sure that you don't do this or leave that gap in there. There's a gap in there. So I'm gonna get this giant stick and try to coax the mix in there. I know a lot of people will get these little pots that look like baskets, for lack of a better description or word, proper word. And they'll stick the pond in there and the plant, and then they just put them in a cash pot, which would be a vessel that does not drain, like a cover pot, and they'll just change the water out that way. I do it the hard way, and I'll fill this up with water, and when it's time to change it, I'll tilt it over and make a big mess. But yeah, the easiest way is to just put it in a nice little pot that's made to go inside of another vessel that does not drain. And yeah, okay, so that's done. This is what it looks like, and eventually all of those roots will take over this whole pot, and quickly too, might I add. And I can't wait to see this girl flourish again. Okay, now that I am done with those two plants, I'm going to get to the anthurium. I'm going to get rid of some of these things here because my table is starting to overflow with, I have a lot of things on this table now. Let's see. Okay, so I found this anthurium at Home Depot, and she is gorgeous. She was a little bit pricey, hence why some people are probably going to say, are you an idiot for what I'm about to do next? That's trash. But I don't think so. I kind of know what I'm doing. I am very confident that this is going to be great. So let me get, actually first what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some soil specifically for this anthurium and get some of this here. Again, I'm gonna try and make some more videos for YouTube and Instagram too. I do have a TikTok, but I don't know, I just haven't really enjoyed being on TikTok as much. I don't know what it is about TikTok. It's just, I guess it's just too much, or just too much going on. It's a little bit faster paced for me. So I definitely don't really like TikTok as much as a platform to be sharing on. I do share on there, and I'll probably just share like memes and stuff, plant memes, but I don't share as much as I do on Instagram. And I do have like a Facebook page, but also again, it's a little bit slower there, so I don't post as much. So I just stick to Instagram. Okay, I got some soil in here. Now I'm gonna add this cup of leca. and some of this extra chunky perlite. My goal definitely with sharing on Instagram and, you know, YouTube is just to make connections. I have really been enjoying just connecting with other people that love plants. And I don't know, it's just been really fun and I'm enjoying myself. And this year I'm hoping to really ramp that up and just, you know, meet a whole bunch more people and make friends and stuff. It's been fun in 2025 doing that. I have become close to some people and I'm hoping I get to make more friends this year in person as well. I will be going to PlantCon International in LA at the end of February, so that's really exciting. I'm really, really excited. I just recently bought my VIP ticket and so excited. Okay, I got this mixed up. I wanted to make it a little bit extra chunkier than what I would normally use for my other plants. Only because anthuriums have really thick, juicy roots, and I'll show you that right now. But what I'm going to do is, oh yes, it's exactly what you think I'm going to be doing. I found this bowl at Goodwill. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I need that for planty things, something planty. I don't know what it would be, terrarium or what have you, or even just a little bowl with aquatic plants in there. But today I made the decision to, yes, put my anthurium in here. And that's why I am making the soil extra chunky, because it's going to be in here. I need it to be extra airy and extra drainy, if that's a word. We're not gonna be technical today. But yes, I'm going to put the rest of this pumice at the bottom as a kind of a drainage layer. And I know you are probably saying, oh my God, what are you doing? This beautiful, expensive plant. Trust me on this, it's going to work. Remember, jar life? So yeah, I'm going to be putting this in at the bottom, and this is just pumice, and I rinsed it off because it is very sandy and extra dirty, and I don't want all of that extra cloudy water in there at the bottom. So I'm going to just even this out down there. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put some leca down at the bottom as well. Let me get that. I definitely need to get another bag of leca. I ran out already of the little, I don't even know how, 2 pounds of leca, and I already went through it. So I'm just gonna throw this down here at the bottom. Just evenly, like that. Okay, I got this ready. I'm going to just put it over to the side. Get rid of some of these pots that I have here. And I'm going to take the anthurium out of its current pot. Some of my planty goals this year, or I'm gonna call them planty goals. I'm not gonna call them wish lists because I'm not aching to have these plants, but you know, if I come across them or I happen to see them for sale somewhere, then I might buy them. Some of those goals would be less Hoyas. I have been battling some, what do you call them? Flat mites on my Hoyas. And I think that is an indicator for me to step back from Hoyas for a little bit. I'm not going to get rid of my Hoyas that I have now, but I think I'm going to purchase less Hoyas for sure until I am sure that the current Hoyas that I have now are healthy and I'm not adding more to it. Look at the roots on that. See how they're chunky and juicy? they are very prone to root rot, very prone. So me doing this is probably why some of you are gasping right now, is because they are very prone to root rot if they are sitting in soil that is way too moist. So that's why I made my mix extra chunky, and it's probably not as chunky as I would like it, but we're gonna work with it. I'm just trying to get some of this mossy stuff off of it as much as I can, only because it holds a lot of water, holds a lot of moisture. And this one is not soggy, but it is a little bit moist. And I just don't want it to sit in this stuff. I'm not gonna go in there and disturb the root ball too much. I'm just trying to like shake off what I can. Anyways, yeah, I want to buy less Hoyas. Now, if I come across a Hoya that I really want, I really love, then maybe, but I'm not gonna actively look for more Hoyas. I think in 2025, I went crazy and I was on Facebook Marketplace. I was on other websites and looking at Hoyas and actively searching for Hoyas. And I filled up my vessel, I filled up my bucket with the chunky soil, and I don't know what I did with the other bucket. Oh well. But yeah, I was actively looking for Hoyas and rare Hoyas that I did not have. And I'm not going to do that this year. This year, I'm going to chill on the Hoyas, especially since the whole flat mite issue. And this is one of the ones, and I think this is the one that started it. It's getting a little bit better. This is my Hoya New Guinea Ghost. And you can see broad mites damage and flat mite damage. They say that broad mites attack the little growth points, the little crusty nubbies you see there, and the flat mites attack the leaves. And it's not like I can put a systemic pesticide or like systemic granules, the bonide systemic granules, because these little guys are microscopic and they feed off of the cells and not the sap, is what I read. So I read that the systemics won't do anything. Now, if any of you have had luck getting rid of flat mites and broad mites with systemics, please let me know, because if so, I will try that. Anything. This is a very expensive hobby. It can get expensive, and just to lose them all because of little critters that I couldn't control, it freaks me out just to think about it. Not that I can't avoid little critters getting into my plants and into my collection. All I can do is try to control it. But yeah, if anybody finds anything that works for the Hoyas, please let me know. But yeah, that is one of the biggest reasons, is because of the struggle with the pests on the Hoyas through 2025. And so I am going to just take a step back and not buy as many Hoyas. I am, however, looking to add more philodendron to my collection. I have said this before in other videos that I got rid of a lot of my big, beautiful philodendrons. A lot of them were on the rarer side, or uncommon, not rare, but uncommon. And I sold them off, and I sold them off really cheap, only because I didn't have the room for them. They were going to get bigger and wider, and I was just scared that I would not have the room for them. So I did start getting rid of a bunch of my bigger philodendrons, and I'm very sad about it. When I look back at pictures in my drive, I start scrolling through all those pictures, and I get really bummed out because I had so many beautiful plants that I sold off. I will not be doing this year unless I absolutely, for sure, positively do not want the plant anymore. I'm going to hold on to my plants and intentionally buy plants that I really want. So I'm not just going to start looking for philodendrons just to start looking for philodendrons. I'm not trying to, you know, really create a hoarding situation here, although it already is, but it's a collection. I will be more intentional with my plant purchases. I'm not just because it's there, but I definitely am going to try my best to be a little bit more intentional with my purchases this year, just so that my collection doesn't get out of hand too fast. Now, philodendrons that I actually really want, speaking of intentional purchases, are a philodendron verrucosum. I have never had a philodendron verrucosum, and I really, really want to get one. I've seen people put them on moss poles and they really take off. I do not like moss poles. I don't like the work that comes with moss poles. I don't like that I have to have the space for a moss pole. They do eventually need to be extended. You have to water them all the time, and they dry out really quick. But plants love them, especially philodendrons, and I think a verrucosum is a plant that I would really, really consider having a moss pole for. Another one that okay, this is definitely a wish list plant, is the philodendron billy, or Billy for short, the variegated one. I know, that is a very expensive plant, and that's probably why I haven't gotten it. I try not to get into the habit of the paying for, so I don't want to do that because it's a very expensive plant, and I will be paying in for. It's still large amounts for paying for. So that's why I haven't gotten that plant. I am waiting until it goes down in price a little bit more, which it is very slowly because it's still a very popular plant. But I am hoping that I can have a variegated Billy this year, by the end of this year, maybe. Yeah, those are very beautiful. I have a regular Billy, and she lives in my living room, and she's doing amazing. And I know having a variegated version of that will look even better. And another one that is definitely a wish list. I'm not even gonna say it's gonna be on my list of goals. It's definitely gonna be a wish list plant. You see how small this is compared to this bowl? It's okay because I am not going to water it after this because the soil is got a good moisture content. The goal with having plants like this in a vessel that does not drain is not to overwater. And so since this mix, which I probably am not going to have enough of, all my other plants like the jar life, and you know, it's worked out for me. So I don't have enough. Dang, look at that. I'm actually, okay, I'm gonna have to go and get some more chunky soil amendments because I did not have enough. I don't want to leave that huge gap. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm here. I need some more charcoal. Some more orchid bark. I really like that they have different sizes of orchid bark here. They have like really tiny and then like a medium size orchid bark there. And that's good. Okay, now that I got my ish together, I added some more orchid bark and some cocoa core chips. That's pretty much it. Oh, and some more charcoal. I was out of some of these things, so I just went really quick and bought some more. And let me get this nice and mixed up so that I can properly fill my little bowl with my anthurium. Take two. What was I talking about before I was interrupted by my lack of preparedness for this video, for this project. I was talking about philodendrons and which ones I really wanted and which ones I thought were nice and I might add. Philodendron Gabby is another one. I bought a Philodendron Gabby back when it was really popular, and I guess it still is kind of a popular trailing philodendron. I bought a cutting off of Etsy and it was doing really well, and then it got thrips and I treated it, started doing well again, and then just until it didn't. It basically just rotted away. I don't know what happened. I don't know if because I changed its humidity up, I don't know, or thrips got to it again. Thrips really loved my Philodendron Gabby. Thrips really seem to love my trailing philos. Like my Brazil and the variegated. I treated my variegated heartleaf so many times, and it's only so many times that you can deal with the same problem before you just get rid of that plant. That is an awesome chunky mix. Look at that. This actually worked out even better. But yeah, so maybe I want to get another Philodendron Gabby this year. I don't know. And maybe I'll get like a more mature plant this time, and that I know will stand a chance, because it's really pretty and I want to add it to my philodendron community pot that I have hanging, and I'm looking there because that's where it's at. It's like right in front of me. But yeah, that is another one that I want to have because I really like my little community pot of philodendrons, trailing philodendrons. It's so pretty, and I think it might have thrips again. Yeah, so I'm going to rinse her off today. I keep looking at the leaves and I don't see any thrips, but just to be sure, I'm going to let me adjust this. There we go. And just to be sure, I'm going to treat it. Let's see, what's another one that I wanted? A Florida Beauty. Okay, so I have a Florida Green and I have a little Rehab Florida Ghost, and I used to have a Florida Beauty cutting that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. It was local, from a local plant person, and it just took forever to root. Florida Beauty cuttings tend to take forever to root, and it finally rooted and it grew, but when it was growing, it reverted. So it turned into a Florida Green all over again. And so I chopped it to stimulate the new growth to, you know, become variegated, and it ended up dying. So, moral of the story, certain plants I should just spend the money and get the full mature plant so that it has a better chance at survival in my home. Because the Floridas seem to be really easy plants, easy philodendrons. I know my Florida Green has been a blast. It's been super easy to take care of. Velvety philodendrons. I put that on my list because I have tried, and I mean velvety philodendrons, like, not the Micans. I have a Micans that's doing okay. Like Melanochrysum, Splendid, what are the other ones? Gloriosum. I do have a El Chalco Red right here, and it's growing a new leaf. It's actually a rehab from Home Depot, and I did talk about that in my little plant tour, how I got it at a discount from Home Depot. I want to give some more velvety philodendrons a try. The only problem I have had with them is pests, spider mites. Spider mites are just, ugh. They seem to love those velvety leaves. And, you know, thrips too. I don't know what it is. I want to see if I can, you know, maybe try my hand at some more velvety. But it's not like a must. But it's on my list of maybes, maybe goals. A variegated domesticum. I had a regular domesticum, or maybe it was reverted, but I got a cutting from at a plant swap of a domesticum, and that one was a really pretty plant. Unfortunately, once it grew big enough, I ended up getting rid of it. And regrets. So my goal is to find a variegated domesticum, and those are really beautiful, and they're not too expensive, so yeah, maybe we'll put that one on the wish list. The one that I will definitely make it to where I do get it this year, so I will be on the lookout for it. Giganteum Blizzard, I really wanted that one. I know that one gets really big, or can get really big, but I really like that one, and I know it would look really good in my living room, so I'm gonna be on the lookout for that one too. I'll put that on the wish list just because it's really pretty. But I think that's it for philodendrons that I will be on the lookout for, or intentionally looking for, or intentional buy. My brain almost wanted to say calatheas. No thank you. I will not intentionally buy a calathea. If I see one that maybe, I'm not gonna say never, but I'm not going to purposely go look for a calathea. Calatheas and I don't get along. And I know a lot of people say they're easy. Well, you know what? Good for you. Kudos if you can keep calatheas alive. I know I have that one calathea here that's barely breathing. So hopefully switching it to pond makes it come back to life, fully back to life. Prayer plants such as marantas, though, I will say that I want some more marantas. I know there's not very many varieties of marantas out there, but I have the variegated, and then I have a red maranta. I do need to buy a lemon lime maranta. I did have one and then I got rid of it again. I know. And I think just a couple other marantas that I really want. I've seen them and they're so beautiful, and I pass them up all the time at Home Depot, but I never get them. Let's see. I think that's full enough. That is awesome. I actually really like the way this turned out. Adding the extra amendments to the soil and making it even chunkier. This actually looks really good. Look at that. Like a little orb. I think this is gonna be great. It's already got a new leaf and everything. I'm so excited to see how this progresses. Let's see. What else did I have on my list? More pothos for sure. I have a few pothos here and there. I used to have a ton of pothos, and I got rid of a bunch of them. Like, I took cuttings and I ended up putting them all in one pot, which is doing great. I show in my plant tour. I don't want to show you again because it's like beating a dead horse. But yeah, that is another goal, is to get some more pothos, because I do have some spots in my living room and dining room that I would love to put some pothos in, and maybe some more uncommon pothos. There's nothing wrong with the common pothos, but I feel like I need to add some uncommon pothos. And last but not least, I definitely my goal will be to rearrange this whole plant room, greenhouse, what have you, so that I can maximize the space in here and arrange my plants a little bit better, because they are kind of all like in a cluster. But maybe get some taller shelves. I don't know, different kind of shelves. I love my IKEA Vito shelves, but I don't know, maybe I need the taller ones, so that's something I'm going to be thinking about. But yeah, for now, that is my list of goals, Planty goals, and Planty wish lists, if you will, for this year. And I might throw some more goals on there that I didn't mention in this video, just as they pop into my head. I will jot them down, and I might do like a mid-year check-in for that list, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. This was really fun to make, and I am excited to see how this anthurium does in this substrate and this setup. Yeah, it doesn't drain, but I am very confident that this will work out. And I will do an update in maybe like a month or two, so that you can see how well she's doing. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you watched all the way to now, to this point, definitely give me a like and a subscribe if you like the content. I am trying to be better with my content and my talking and my presence in these videos. It is a little bit out of my comfort zone. That is another thing that I should jot down, is to just try to be a little bit more comfortable with talking to the camera. It's not like I'm in front of an audience, but it is in front of an audience. Eventually it will be in front of an audience. And that is just something that that was a personal goal that I really wanted to meet, and I want to really ramp it up and fully engage and step out of that comfort zone, the anxiety, the social anxiety and stuff. So I'm really making it a point for me to talk to people and go to events and not be scared. And even if I am scared, I need to do it, because I know in the end I'm going to feel great about it and it's going to feel good. So yeah, I hopefully will get better at this as the videos come through. I'm really good at my like Instagram reels and my shorts, not my shorts, the stories, because they're just quick little things, little updates here and there, and I don't really have to be here present talking. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will stop talking now, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.